Hey everybody, I'm Rob. Welcome to my channel. And this is Bogey. Living alone in your 50s can be a strange mix of freedom and quiet. You get used to your routines, your space, your pace. But sometimes you don't realize what's missing until something small changes everything. As you can probably already guess, I decided about 4 months ago to bring a cat into my life. After living alone for many years, I decided I needed a companion. And to be honest, it's been way more meaningful than I ever expected. I didn't just get a pet thinking it would be a big life change. I thought it might be nice to have a little company around. But over time, I started noticing how much it actually added to my day to day life. He is the quiet company I didn't realize that I needed. There's something about not being completely alone in the house that makes a difference. Even when nothing is happening, just having another presence there feels like a change in the space, and it's been very nice. It's a quiet kind of companionship, nothing really too demanding, just there. Obviously, you have to care for a pet, and that's not a problem. I'm having fun kind of integrating it into my life. I did find out that my life the last few years have been just solely about me, just going to work, coming home, doing what I wanted to do, and now it's kind of nice to have another small little, you know, living being to care for. Having a pet naturally creates small routines like feeding, checking in, and the little moments throughout the day. I know Bogey uh, likes to sleep in a box on my bed. I got it out about well, halfway through December. I got the box out it had a bunch of gift bags in it for Christmas, and I left it on the bed, and he decided that was where he was going to sleep, and he's been sleeping there ever since. And I'm not going to mess with that. He's a cat after all, so it's just one of those little moments that you kind of grin, and it's funny, but it's really cool. They all have their own little personalities, and it's pretty refreshing. Um, it's been a different kind of connection. It's been years and years since I've been around or had a pet, and I think I had a cat when I was a young child, still living at home, and I really didn't connect with it too much. But having this little guy here has been a real blessing. Um, Obviously, I don't have conversations with him, although I do talk to him. But it's still a connection. You can feel it. Um, and I've started to notice that he has his own blend, his own type of personality, his habits, his little quirks, things he likes and doesn't like. Like he's not a big fan of being held, but he likes to snuggle. So I just go with it. Um, so I can feel us building kind of a little bond, and it's been really cool. Not kind of, it's been really cool. Um, Another thing that I've noticed about having a pet around is that it brings me or keeps me in the present moment, if that makes sense. Um, Watching a cat, how it plays, rests, or just exists has has had a calming effect on me. There's a reason why studies prove that having a pet um, extends your life, gives you more pleasure out of life, and I definitely agree with that. I never considered myself as living alone to be quote unquote lonely, but he brings a certain brightness to the day that I didn't realize I was missing, if that makes any sense. Um, I've noticed a couple of like more, I guess, higher level thinking. Like he naturally pulls me out of overthinking and keeps me in the moment. Um, I know that sounds silly, but it's true. Um, so sometimes it's a reminder to kind of slow down um, and enjoy the moment. Uh, while it's here, and not try to get too far ahead of yourself. There's a certain sense of responsibility that feels good taking care of a pet. Taking care of something gives a sense of purpose, even in small ways. Um, and that's an important thing, or what I'm learning is that's a pretty important thing to still value as we get older. That we still, um, I think we're used to taking care of ourselves and maybe our loved ones, but having that other entity around gives gives us maybe a fresh sense of perspective that maybe we lose touch with, or we become numb to. Um, None of that's overwhelming, but it matters. That feeling for me anyway can be kind of grounding, um, especially those of us who may live alone. And can't underestimate the lightness and the humor. I love to laugh, and Bogey has brought a lot of laughter into my life. So that's something that I guess right where scientists always say, it adds pleasure to your life, which usually translates to living longer or a more fruitful life. Um, there's been many times just in the 4 months that I've had him that I've laughed like crazy over things he's done. So just the unexpected moments, just the random funny things that happen. Um, they kind of break up the seriousness of life. And, sometimes you go home and you're just like, it's nothing on TV I want to watch. I had a bad day at work. Um, and again, it's one of those things maybe we take for granted, but having that value of having, a little pet to come home to that's happy to see you and could care less that the outside world was rough on you today. He or she wants some company and some food and, a little, some snuggles. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. Um, just that little bit of lightness that they bring into the world is something that maybe I didn't know that I really needed as much as I'm do. I've noticed lately I appreciate the simple things a lot more than I had. I consider myself always that type of person who does um, appreciate the small things, but I think sometimes, just like all of us, we can get carried away with other things and kind of lose track of those things. Um, with him, I've started noticing the small interactions, quiet mornings, sitting nearby him, simple routines, just getting up and making his food in the mornings and stuff. It's just something that I find uniquely refreshing. It shifts my focus toward the present instead of always thinking ahead. And in a way, that makes life feel a little simpler, a little more controlled, and a little bit more easy, I guess. So, what do you think? I'd love to hear your comments in in the reflections below. If you've never been to this channel before, I encourage you to please like and subscribe um, as we try to build this channel forward. One thing I noticed about pets is I didn't realize how much a small change could affect my daily life or my overall life, and it's really been wonderful. I don't know if you're on the fence about a pet or you have one and you'd like to share some of the benefits that you've seen, especially those of us who may live alone, how much it's brought maybe into your life, or maybe I rambled on about some of the perspectives, but maybe you can connect, and I'd like to hear from you if you can. It's not really anything been dramatic. It's just subtle, but it's been very meaningful. Anyway, that's all I got for today, and I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you.